All right, so I'm going to continue with factoring. We're going to do grouping in this lesson, right? So this one's going to be super short. All right, so part of this lesson was factoring the perfect cubes, but that's in the previous lesson that we did. I kind of incorporated in there with all the special cases. So with the GCF, the difference of squares, the perfect square trinomials, that was all one lesson, and I'll do grouping in this one. Should be super short, and then there's going to be 2 more factoring lessons. All right, so factoring by grouping, you need 4 terms. We group in pairs. Now, we always factor out the GCF until the parentheses match, and then you factor out whatever is left over in the parentheses, and then you group together the GCFs that we took out. All right, so looking at this as an example, x to the third minus x squared plus 2x minus 2. All right, so we're going to group in pairs. So I'm going to group the first 2, and then group the second 2. Whoa. All right, now from the first group between x to the third and x squared, I can take out an x squared. And then when you take out an x squared, you're left with an x minus 1. Now in 2x minus 2, the GCF there is going to be 2. And then I'm left with an x minus 1. All right, so now hopefully we agree that this x minus 1 and this x minus 1 are a common factor between the 2. Right? This is x squared times x minus 1, and this is 2 times x minus 1. So this is our common factor, and so if it's a common factor, I can take it out. Take out that common factor, and then you're left with whatever's left over. That x squared and the plus 2. All right, that's really all we do when we factor by grouping. So just 4 examples left. Now, typically what I like to do when factoring any sort of polynomial is rewrite it in standard form, right? And you'll see with this one though, if you were to try it without doing it, let's say you wanted to group just the way it was written, then you would still get the same answer. But just because this might not always be the case, what I like to do is write it in standard form, right? So standard form is decreasing exponent order. So 8x to the 5th is first, and then 12x to the 3rd is the next biggest exponent. And then it's a minus 6x squared, and then a minus 9. All right, so like before, I can group the first 2, and then group the second 2, and then take out a GCF. Right, in 8x to the 5th plus 12x to the 3rd, I can take out a 4x to the 3rd. Right, and so we're left with a 2x plus 3. And then from our next group, it looks like we can take out a negative 3. And then we're left with, sorry, this should be a squared. All right, and then we're left with a 2x squared plus 3 as well. All right, and so this parentheses and this parentheses match. So I can take that out as a GCF, right? It's going to be 2x squared plus 3. And then left over is going to be the GCFs originally that we took out, that 4x to the 3rd and that minus 3. That's all we got to do. All right, now with number 9, same exact idea, 4 terms. It's in standard form. I'm going to group the first 2 and then group the second 2. From the first group, I can take out an x squared. We're left with an x plus 1. From our second group, I can take out a negative 5, and I'm left with an x plus 1. All right, and then our parentheses match. So then I'm going to pull that out as the GCF, and then x squared minus 5 are left over. All right, simple as that. Just 2 more examples. X to the 3rd plus 5x squared go in one group, and then negative 5x minus 25 goes in another group. GCF of the first group is going to be x squared, and then you're left with an x plus 5. And then from our second group, it looks like we can take out a negative 5. All right, we could take out the positive 5, but again, you want the parentheses to match. If you took out just a positive 5, you'd be left with a negative x minus 5, and that doesn't match with this one right here. So we want them to match. All right, and then because our parentheses now match, I can pull that out as a GCF. And then I'm left with an x squared minus 5. All right, same exact thing with the last one. 3x to the third plus x squared goes in one group, and the negative 15x minus 5 goes in the other group. From the first group, I can take out an x squared, and I'm left with a 3x plus 1. From our next group, I could take out a negative 5, and I'm also left with 3x plus 1. So our parentheses match. So I can pull it out, and then left over in my other set of parentheses is going to be, I don't know why it keeps doing that. It's going to be the other GCFs that we took out. All right, and that's all for factoring by grouping, right? We'll go a little bit more involved with grouping maybe in 2 more sections, right? Factoring completely. For now, this is all we have to do, because when you look at our factors that we took out, there's nothing more that we can do to them, right? When we do factoring completely though, maybe this is one step, and then maybe we need to do a little bit more factoring with the factors that we have left over. All right, so this is a good skill to have when you see 4 terms, right? Typically that's where your brain should go, right? You should think that 4 terms we factor by grouping.